A United Nations human rights expert says that the majority of today's unilateral sanctions, imposed mainly by the US-led Western powers, do not fall within the scope of international law.
However, it's necessary to take into account that any measures to be qualified as countermeasures shall be taken in full conformity with the Articles on Law of International Responsibility. That basically means that they are supposed to be taken in response to the previous violation of international law. They shall be necessary and proportionate to the violations happen, not to the goal, as some Western countries are referring to, but to the violation happen, and naturally they shouldn't violate fundamental human rights. Unfortunately, the majority of unilateral sanctions taken today do not fall under these criteria. And I would say that around 98–99% of unilateral sanctions taken today violate international obligations of states and do not fall within the scope of the law of international responsibility. And therefore, we can qualify them as unilateral coercive measures, and therefore they are illegal under international law.
Another special concern for the UN expert is extraterritorial secondary sanctions and threats of sanctions resulting in overcompliance with existing sanctions regimes, which prevent the sanctioned states and their people from purchasing essential goods.
In the face of the growing number of unilateral sanctions today, we started to face a new tendency, the tendency of secondary sanctions and overcompliance. If one looks at the sanctions documents, which have been drafted by, for example, the United States, European Union, and many other countries, it's possible to see the references as, for example, the country entitles itself to impose additional sanctions over third country nationals and companies which violate the regime of these sanctions.
Elena Duhan, Special Rapporteur on Unilateral Coercive Measures, took up her functions at the UN on March 25, 2020. She is a professor of international law and director of the Peace Research Center at the Belarusian State University.